So with the rise of Metafy, at least in regards to like your favorite Smash content creators, there's a high chance that you just might go out and get a lesson, or you might go out and win a lesson from a raffle that Metafy does like every other week, right? Because there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways to get a lesson nowadays, whether it's from your favorite top player or from somebody who is just local. You know, like when I wanted to actually get money to travel for Smash initially, I did lessons in Hawaii. So through this, I've been doing Metafy like pretty consistently for the last 3 months. There's a lot of times where I feel like I wouldn't say I feel like I'm robbing somebody, because it's not that one-to-one, but I feel like people could be getting more out of their lesson. Albeit not everybody's trying to have a lesson to become like the best player in the world, right? But I feel like people can get a lot more out of their lessons with top players, which is pretty much like when you get the opportunity to have an interaction with somebody who might be able to teach you something, what are you gonna do? So like chat, like what's your go-tos? Like let's say you want to go into a lesson. What's your idea of a lesson? Not a lot of people have great ideas. And I feel like the go-to for people when they want lessons is it's generally one of two things. Or it's kind of like a combination of these two things. I want to play you, and I want to get advice from me playing you. I don't fully agree with this. Not that I don't agree with it, because you can learn. But at that point, it's like an hour-long money match. And if I want to be honest, an hour of playing your top player will not... You'll come to the same realization after, like, the 15 minutes. Like, it won't take that long for you to realize this guy is kicking my shit in. He is destroying me left and right. And that's kind of all that's happening. You don't need an hour to learn that. You really don't. You don't even need like... You don't even need to play them to really know that. But you need to play them to experience it. Yeah. Like the first game, you kind of understand. The second, third game, it gets a little more evident. And then at that point, me being the top player, I'm like, well, here's your bad habits. I'm just going to blow you up for these bad habits. Or I'm going to tell you what to work on with these bad habits, and you're going to try to work on them during the lesson, and you're going to get blown up even harder because you're not good at what you're trying to work on. It's not a good way to, like, have a lesson, you know? Ningalactic, thank you for the 8. Having a great day. Miss me? Miss you too. Miss you. My day's going good. Day's going good. So, a lot of people in chat did talk about it. You should ask questions. And this is kind of where it gets to the point. Just because somebody's good at the game doesn't mean they're good at teaching. There's a very big difference. And you know, not all advice is good advice. But you in these situations, like if I play against somebody who's kind of bad at teaching, I would probably rather just play them and see what mistakes they're punishing me hard for, and try to ask them what's going on in their head. But the main thing, you gotta ask these people questions. You gotta ask them questions. Go into a lesson with a plan in mind. Like, I always ask people, I'm like, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk? Do you want to play? Do you want to watch VODs? Because I think those three things are kind of the main three things you can do in a lesson, at least for like Smash. You either want to talk to me. I've had a lesson where I've talked to the guy for a whole hour. You either want to play against me, or you want to watch VODs. Optimally, you would want to try to get all three. But that's like going in with a game plan. Like, sometimes if somebody does want VODs, but they don't play in tournament, I'm like, okay, here's the deal. Let's play 2 to 3 games. You just try your hardest to win. Don't think about like what you could be doing better, what you could be doing worse. Try your hardest to win. I'll try my hardest to win. I will record those locally, and we will watch them together. Because that's probably like the best that you can do. Like that's honestly some of the best stuff that you can do. Where you get the gameplay, right? You get the VODs and you get to watch it, right? Like it's awesome. It's great. You don't get the diminishing return of playing a top player for an hour for them to start blowing up your bad habits, which at that point it's like, oh man, it's not good. It's not good. So, the harder things here, which I think is why a lot of people will strictly play, is one, what questions to ask, right? That's a pretty big one. A lot of the times people won't ask me questions because they're like, oh, this is stupid. Like, when I was on the ledge, why did you think I was going to get up attack? I didn't get up attack the whole set. And, they're like, oh, no, that's a stupid question. No, actually, that's a great question. I wish I thought of a worse question for this. I wish I thought of a worse question for this example. That question's pretty good. But yeah, sometimes it is great questions, and people don't know how to ask it because nobody really talks about this stuff. Nobody tells you like what should you ask top players, because everybody has their own struggles with their gameplay. Everybody has their own problems. Not everybody learns the exact same way, So nobody really knows what questions are good to ask. But yeah, this is where like the teacher in me comes out. You always hear your teacher say this: there's no such thing as a dumb question, but there is, and that's why nobody listens to that. But generally, like, at least if you get the curiosity out, I think that's worthwhile. Like, I just, like, if you don't understand something, and I'm like, okay, maybe you don't understand it because of this, like, you give me a little bit of insight of where you're thinking, and that can help me help you. But something else you can do as well, and this is going to be a recurring theme in me talking about this, is having a game plan going into the lesson. Like, literally have a game plan. Because if you go in with questions that you already want to ask, you don't have to think of those while you play. You don't have to be playing and you're like, fuck, like, I only have 30 minutes left and I haven't asked one question. Like, no, you can go into the lesson and be like, hey, dude, I play this character and I have problems with this. What do you suggest? How do you avoid back throw PK freeze? There are such things as dumb questions. Anyway, having questions and like yeah, I get on Cold Kings a lot. Oh. Having a game plan when you go into a lesson, like, dude, it changes the world. It changes the whole world of the lesson. Like, you can straight up get about an hour. Like, some people for an hour, they might ask me a few questions. I have to write a bunch of stuff down to be like, hey, you can work on this. I noticed this. I noticed that. Cool. But you can get those and you can get the questions asked like at the same time. It's like getting value out of an hour. An hour is a lot of time. You know what else is a lot of time? Sadly, Smash games. I've had a lesson where like me and this other dude, I don't know, we were pretty campy that day. I don't know if I reacted to him camping or he reacted to me camping, but we were pretty campy. You know what that means? That's time. That's time of one game where that's the hour that you bought for your lesson. The lesson was like 10, 20, 50, 100. That's time. So if you have questions, like, it's great. Yeah. Like, a great question that I feel like I get a lot is tournament mentality. There's a very... You can ask a lot of people this, don't get me wrong, but top players have been through it all. We've been through it all. We've played in garages, we've played in stadiums, we've been through it all. You should definitely, like, you can ask questions about gameplay, What did you do to get better when you had a roadblock mentally? What did you end up doing to get past that? When you had a roadblock gameplay-wise, what did you do? Did you end up switching characters along the line? Like, these are a lot of base, simple, general questions that you can ask when it comes to lessons. And another thing, if the top player is like streaming, bro, use that as a resource. Ask these top players questions in their chat. Please don't copy paste it. We see it. We just might be, you know, playing quick play or something. Just don't copy paste it. Otherwise, like, I'm way less inclined to answer your question, and I'm sure all of us feel almost the same way. You can ask it, or maybe ask like, hey, can I ask a question about X? You know, that's a good way to make sure you don't have to copy paste it. You know, you kind of like make that connection before. But use like top player streams as a resource, because it's like getting a lesson, low key. It's just not personal. And sometimes you want a personal lesson, don't get me wrong, but there are times where it's like, the other day in chat, somebody's like, yo, I can't get fair after down throw with Sheik. Like, what's up with that? And that's one of those questions where, like, if I got a lesson with me, I would want to ask that beforehand. In the intro of the lesson, you know? I also had a lesson trying to teach somebody how to down throw up B with Pyramithra, and then I had another lesson with them, and they were like, yeah, you know, I still can't get it. Do you have any tips? Like, we, like, went into the same lobby, we practice it with each other. Like, it's stuff like that. And you don't always need the lesson to know these things, but, you know, you can do it in Twitch chats. Is more so the point. But the main point, go in with a game plan. And a lot of the game plan, if you don't play the game in tournament and you don't record your replays, ask questions. Go in with questions. You can't get Anion to spawn tower, up smash, cancel, up tilt, PRB, bear constantly. You probably just have to go faster. You probably just have to go faster. I'm wondering, how would you get up smash, cancel, up tilt? Is that a thing? If that's a thing, then you just have to go faster. I know the block breaks, but then do you put another block and then up tilt, or do you up air? Which I know is like the same thing. That's Steve lingo. That's Steve lingo. And if you're a Steve player and you get a Steve lesson, you can ask these questions. What does this mean? How do I do this? Why can't I do this? What is this Twitter clip doing better than me? And you can send a link of the clip, just have them look at it, and that's it. You got it, right? And again, you can use that in Twitch streams. Find your favorite content creators, ask questions. Majority of us are friendly. I think majority of us are friendly. We won't bite. If you want to get better at the game, you can definitely use Twitch chat as a really good tool. Which, again, going back to the Metafy thing, the other tool that a lot of people don't use, including top players, so this is actually a tough one. This is very coach specific. VODs. VODs. I can watch you play 2 games of Smash, and I can probably tell you more by watching those 2 games than I would be able to tell you for playing you for an hour.
Let's go! Oh!
Let's go!
Oh!
I don't bite. I'm nice. Playing against somebody, you have to, like, it's really difficult to play against you and to think about what you can be doing better while I'm just demolishing you, right? It's hard. Okay, maybe not demolishing. A lot of my lessons, people are actually pretty tough. Like, actually, I'm like, bro, I literally can't pay attention to the way you're playing, because then I start getting jammed. And I'm like, Anyway, watch VODs, but also watch VODs with a top player. There's a lot of, like, one of my favorite moments at tournaments is just sitting in a group of top players, and we're literally just talking about, like, the game. We're straight up just talking about the game. And it's like, oh yeah, what do you think this guy could have done? And we're watching in real time. We don't have the chance to, like, go back and, like, frame by frame look at what we're doing. And sometimes, like, wow, that was a terrible option. Like, that was definitely an input error. That wasn't an input error. Like, yo, he's crazy. Yo, he's actually crazy. It's stuff like that. And again, like, I genuinely think if I watch somebody play, then it's a lot easier to dissect the gameplay. You can see patterns, you can see a lot more when you're not the one playing. You get to zoom out and you get to look like, what am I thinking? Why am I doing this? Why do I keep doing this? Right? And you can actually break it down like, oh, you want to do that because you want to get a stock here. You want to do that because, you know, you just want, like, your big combo starter because that's the only combo starter that you know. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. But if you can't get VODs if you're local to review, this is where what I do in my lessons is I play against the person in a few games, and I just watch the VOD for the rest of the lesson. Because that way, one, you create the VOD. You just played, so everything you were thinking of is very fresh in your mind, and that way you can just look at it. And you can, like, you can be like, hey, here I was thinking about doing this, but then you did that, and, you know, my option didn't work. You know? So it's like, yeah, the hardest part of VOD review is definitely not being salty. I've lost majors before, and I took like 2 weeks to watch the VODs because I was like, I can't watch that. Like, I can't watch me lose. That's the hardest part of watching VODs. And personally, a lot of people don't like watching themselves lose, but actually, I prefer watching VODs that I feel good about, that I won, because then you did things correct, right? In the scope of the match, you did things correct. So then you would imagine, since you won, there's nothing to improve on, right? No. There's actually, like, even when you win, there's a lot of stuff that you can improve on. And I feel like even in the sets where I do well, I want to see what I did well and, like, areas that I faltered so I can, like, clean that up. However, in a set where I lose, like, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I can look at where I'm like, oh god, like, I was just playing so bad here. Oh god, I got hit by that random kill confirm. I air dodge SD'd. But, like, when I play well, I'm like, I'm playing well, but I'm still messing up, like, here and there. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can learn from watching VODs. But here's the thing: not every top player watches VODs, and I mean, that's just a fact. Like, a lot of character, or a lot of players don't watch VODs. So it does go, like, very dependent on who you get a lesson from. But for the most part, you can go and watch a VOD of yourself. Yo, Geo, even the 19. You can go watch a VOD of yourself, and this goes back to the overarching thing: ask questions. Find things that you falter in and ask questions. Because if you don't do that, it's like you can only gain so much from playing. And I don't mean this in, like, a poor way, but especially if you play the same person during long sets, sometimes you can gain a lot, because then you try to, like, adapt and improve it through the set. But sometimes, like, in the scope of a lesson, all you have is an hour. You have an hour to try to learn these things. Yeah, with VOD reviewing, if you get a coach that knows how to VOD review, ask them why they're looking at the things that they do. Like, why was that important? Why did you look at that? You know, like, learn how to VOD review. Like, learn. The lesson can be there. Don't get me wrong. Not everybody is taking a lesson to, like, become a super duper omega awesome player. All right. Sometimes you do just want to play with your favorite players, or, like, be in a Discord call with them. I get it. But if that's not you, then there's a lot of these things that you can do in order to, like, make the most value of, like, an hour. Like, again, I spent an hour talking to somebody, like, just talking to them about, like, tournament mentality, who they played, how they did in like certain brackets, and I was like, yeah, dude, like, let's hear it. It was like low-key, like, where it was just, we were just talking. We were just having a conversation, and it's more so he was picking apart my brain, where it's like, you've been in these situations, you got this experience, what are you going to do with that experience, right? Like, or not what are you going to do, what did you do with that experience to get to where you are? A lot of people are like, yeah, you know, like, they'll ask very generic questions, and in Twitch chats it's fine too, because, you know, like, I'm not gonna see somebody ask a question and go on a 30-minute tangent. You know, it's just not gonna happen. Never mind, it's happened before. Usually when I get kind of upset about what somebody said. But usually that's not gonna happen, especially in the scope of like improving at the game. Lesson for help with your math homework? Not from me, but there are people out there. Just put math homework in a tweet, guarantee you'll get like 10 bots. 100%. I don't know if they're true or not, or if they end up being real people, but guarantee 10 bots. So yes, I kind of covered every point, because I want people to get more value out of their Metafy lessons, and I want people to use top players as a resource in Smash, because I know a lot of the top players personally. I feel like if it's in a Twitch chat, it's fine. In person, it'll be a little harder, because usually they're just hanging out, like, we're not like sitting by ourselves in a room. But in Twitch chat, you know, if I see somebody send a message on the screen, I'm just like, you know, maybe that is true, maybe that's not true. We'll see how it is. And even off of that, you can use that to form like questions. Use your time efficiently. Just because you have an hour of a Metafy lesson doesn't mean you don't have a lot of hours before that to prepare for the Metafy lesson. That's about it. I think I've kind of wrapped up everything I really wanted to talk about. But questions from the chat. When it comes to lessons, asking questions, improving, why Metafy, why not Metafy, money matches, so on and so forth. Advice on how to not play risky when you're down a stock or two. The way I think about it, if I've 3-stocked somebody before, then I can win with 2 or 1 stock. I just have to play as solid as I would if I'm trying to 3-stock them. So I think of every stock as a potential 3-stock, you know? I literally think of every stock as a potential 3-stock. Yeah. I've won games 3-1, I've lost games 1-3, so on and so forth. How do we nerf Sheik? I ain't answering that. Would I ever consider doing offline lessons? I was thinking about doing some panel stuff. I think it'd be cool. How do you focus and bracket? I think a lot of stuff about focus is actually, it can be a lot of health stuff. But just try to find like for me, I put like, I like try to not focus on something. The game is starting. I'm like, all right, cool. Like 3, 2, I'll like breathe in, like 3, 2, breathe in, 1, and then I'll exhale and I'll like open my eyes and look at the screen, and like to me that's my sign that I'm focusing on the game. That's the main thing. Can you pay for coaching for your friends? I think you can. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Dash Shield video changed your life. It's crazy, right? It's crazy, right? How to get better at VOD review? I have a really base format that I think is really easy, that I do when I want to be really lazy with my VOD reviews. I specifically look at the interactions that happened at the end of each stock, and I'm like, where did it happen? Why did it happen? And then I go to the next stock. Because a lot of the times, like I showed this on stream a couple months ago. I was watching a VOD of Zachary versus Atorie, and Zachary constantly died for fighting for center stage. Like it happened like 4 out of the like 9 or 12 stocks that I watched. So because I saw the consistency of where he's dying, that is like when he's at death percent, that's what he wants to do. And because he has that mentality, his gameplay reflects it, and bam, that's where he's losing his stocks. And all I did was I just looked at the end of stock interaction for like a bunch of games. I watched like 4 games within the span of like 4 minutes, and that's like all I paid attention to. It's about trying to break down that situation and be like, where are they taking the risks? Why are they taking the risks there? What do I want to do? And you know, even where am I getting the stocks? So that's like, where are my strengths when it comes to taking the stocks? And why is that good? Why is that not good? Where am I not being strong? It's a bunch of stuff like that. But it's a really, really simple format. I recommend trying it. I think it works really well. As long like sometimes I'll watch like a 10-12 minute VOD for like an hour, and I don't have an hour of time all the time. So will I go to Summit? We'll see. How can you force someone to flinch without wasting resources? Just, you gotta bait them. You gotta bait them hard. You have to make it look like you're doing it until the very end. Until the very end. Do you have a routine when I warm up? Nope. I just play. Advice for focusing in bracket is not unique. It's not. It's not. Oh, chat. Questions. Tilt stick is... I think tilt stick is better for Sheik. It's gonna be a YouTube video? Yeah. Knowing the why is hard when you don't know the why. Well, that's the thing. You can always like try to get better at VOD review. Just try. Be like, I think this is bad because of this. You're either right or you're wrong, and you can learn from that. Because sometimes you try to move forward and you're like, yeah, this isn't working. Like, I messed up. That's it. Suddenly, now you know the next time you see something like that, cool. You're like, yeah, this thing didn't work last time. Trial and error. Yeah. If you don't know the why, you can learn the why. How important is practicing every day? I don't think practicing every day is important. I think having quality practice here and there is a little more important. Because the most just like as like a human, right? You learn the most when you fall asleep. So if you practice every day, you'll kind of like learn a lot like every day. But I think it's just important to think about the game. I think thinking about the game is a little more important than practicing. Like, keep it fresh, but you don't have to play every day to keep it fresh. How do you predict someone who doesn't even know what they're gonna do? I decide to beat the character instead of beat the player. That's a little more of what I try to do. If your progress has been halted due to online and lack of ability to attend locals and just play offline, is that a symptom of Smash Online? Yes, definitely is. How do you find your locals? It used to be Facebook, but I don't know anymore. I'll try Smash.gg. How do you overcome players who seem to gatekeep you? Oh god, I've had massive demons in my Smash career. It's really hard. It's really hard. Because it's a lot of mental. Just keep trying. Keep trying and try new things. Like, actively try new things. Don't get like brought down. Like, try new things. You're gonna be bad at it, but just keep trying. You gotta keep going at it. How do you handle nerves when they aren't necessarily caused by being in bracket, but things like a crowd or friends watching? I'm really bad at that. I don't like when people watch me play. It sounds terrible. It sounds like so wrong. I don't know. I try to ignore them. I genuinely try to ignore them. I just look at the game and I'm like, at what point is a VOD not worth reviewing? I would say just, even if it's a couple months ago, it can still be relevant, but I'll always try to find like recent VODs. Is the Void Stare? No, the Void Stare is me drinking a ridiculous amount of Red Bull and not being healthy. And that's what the Void Stare is. Pretty good at multiple games. What's my general approach when I try to improve by myself? I know when I'm trying to learn a game, I know that I suck. And because of that, I know the options that make me feel like I'm good are probably not good. So it's a constant search of searching for good options, even though, like, you know, even though I feel like they're good, I know that they're not good. So I keep searching. I'm like, wow, that option's better than my good option. Wow, this option that's really bad, but this one player did this versus me, and that was crazy. So I literally just steal from everything around me. And yeah, I never think that my game plan is like set in stone. It's always like I want to keep finding out these like super good options. Best mindset while watching a VOD where you're upset that you lost. So I would just say give it time. You can't be upset that you lost for that long. What do you do if you see Charlie in bracket? Don't let him use falling aerials on you. That's it. Practice hit confirming in normal training mode. It's a little hard. Oh, a video idea actually. Just write that down for the future. All right. Anyway. Let me see. How to come out of a character crisis? I don't believe in character crises. If you enjoy playing a lot of characters, what's wrong with that? Right? Any advice on how to treat placements? You guys get nervous? Oh, it's tough. It's tough. That's something where I get used to it. The one thing I think, like when I'm really far in bracket, I just think about my set and the next set. And I try not to think about placements too much. Yeah. What do you do with nerves when playing a set? I don't like losing because I'm nervous. So I try to ignore it until I'm done playing. How do you overcome autopilot? You don't. You don't. Autopilot is going to be a big part of how good you are at playing for a long time. It's not about overcoming autopilot. It's about having a good and strong autopilot. That's what you need to do. When's the Pyro Mithra? I played them at MSM. I played them at MSM the other day. It was really hard. Playing them in bracket is a lot harder, but I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna watch Strive character reveal. I am. Well, I hope this video is in Spanish. Uh-oh. It'll be okay. Why is wave dashing not viable? It's a little slow. Oh. Yeah, I'm ignoring these strides. Don't I feel people hyper-focus too much about characters and matchups? I do. They are relevant, but for the most part, for a lot of earlier levels of play, you're probably just... Here's how I think about it. You learn the game in one way, and sometimes you run into people that just are better at beating your way than you are at beating their way. And I feel like that's about it. I don't think it goes too more like complicated than that. You know if people are allowed to restream? Oh, okay.
Oh,
WH, past 2 years and you didn't even notice? Nice. Glad to have been here. Dude, we got a lot of 2 years. I'm happy. Is there a way to get short hop single sheik knife and double tapping the B? I think you can hit B and A, maybe. It's my definition of autopilot. Autopilot are just pretty much things that you don't have to think about. I don't know. Like if I do forward throw to bouncing fish, I'm not thinking about autopiloting. Or I'm not thinking about doing anything. I'm specifically thinking about other stuff because I know that my hands can just do it. Yeah. You're stubborn and trying to get solid results with Wario until you pick up a secondary for certain matchups. Is it best that you try to stick with it, or is it more toxic to be stubborn? Nah. If you want to play, you want goals in a specific way, you do that. You do that, 100%. How do you untrain bad habits? The way that I've always done it is I create a new habit in spot of the bad habit. But I also learn the counterplay to my bad habit. So if it starts showing, I know what my opponent's gonna do in order to beat it, and I start doing that instead. It's a combination of both. Yeah, I'll come by after Spot. Yo, Roko, thank you for the Prime for 11. Oh, am I finally caught up? Finally caught up. How do you approach conditioning someone to shield in neutral? Some people just don't shield. They really don't. But it's all about like just finding out their shield habits. I think that's the main thing. How much practice do you think you can truly get from online? A lot. I think people underrate it a lot. Will I do this more often? We'll see. I wanted to talk about how well, people can get more value out of their Metafy lessons. I'll probably do a little more. Yeah, it's hard to condition people. It's hard to condition people. I know be overly negative when reviewing VODs and noticing bad decisions. You're not perfect. Your gameplay is not perfect. Otherwise, you wouldn't be reviewing your VOD. You should find a bad decision and be like, yo, bad decisions? Let's change that. You think Mars is really smart? I think Mars is really smart.
Thank you.
Yo, what a fruit. Think of the 6 new Guilty Gear character. Yeah, I'm gonna at least be streaming while it's happening if I can't restream it. New best abuse characters with fast, safe moves and really good advantage. Put them on the ledge. It's the best option I can tell you. All right, let's do two more questions. Two more, a little general, not like character specific questions, and then I'll go talk to Splat for a bit, and we'll see what we're doing with this Guilty Gear thing. No, not too character specific. Not too character specific. Thoughts for people. I'll take that. Thoughts for people who play characters that are decent but don't see a lot of top player rep. I mean, I do that with Sheik. Oh God, I'm the top player. I do that with Sheik. If you're playing a character like that and your goal is to become like a top level player, it can be hard because you kind of have to shape the meta in comparison to learn the meta from somebody else. So it's just like experiment, talk with the other people who are there, like use your resources, ask other people what they have trouble with dealing with your character. There's a lot of stuff that you can do instead of just like playing, and like you can talk to other people and find out their perspective, because that's pretty important too, you know. What is a consistent problem I see in low to mid-level players' disadvantage? They usually only do one thing. They either just mash double jump or mash air dodge, and they don't really switch it up. It's kind of like the biggest thing, actually. How do you make simplistic... we'll do this. How do you make simplistic characters with very obvious options work against people who know how to deal with it? That's hard. It's a lot of conditioning. That's a lot of conditioning. You have to make it to where, even though you have obvious options, you have to make them think that you're doing other stuff. You have to make them think that you're doing other stuff. Should mix-ups be mindless to avoid bad habits? No, think about your gameplay. Play with intent. Do things with intent. Final note, if you're doing something and you're like, I don't know why I did that, that's probably one of the worst things you could ever say. Do things with intent. That way, if you mess up, you know why you wanted to do it, and you know that you can do other stuff. If you just do things to do things, then it's like you can't learn from your I don't knows. You really can't. And a lot of that is like, it's subconscious stuff too. You're just like, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this just cause. Even if it's a good option, find out why it's good. Find out the intent. And then after that, you can be like, all right, I'm doing this because of that. Right? Yeah. You can learn a lot from intent. I'm gonna finish this here. Just like for this talk. Like, of course, I'm still down to talk about stuff. Everybody who was here to listen to me talk about this, thank you guys. I just wanted to schedule this for some time today. I felt like it would be a cool stream. Something that I kind of care about. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. But yeah, there's been a lot of Metafy like coaches in Smash through the last like couple months, and yeah, I've had my fair share of lessons where I was like, I wish you could get more out of this, because I love learning and I love teaching. So just wanted to share my thoughts as both somebody who's learned a lot and somebody who enjoys teaching a lot.